Much like you and everyone else new to getting tattooed, we've all scoured the internet, wondering how painful our tattoo appointment's going to be, and realised that unfortunately there's an overwhelming amount of info out there about tattoo pain. These are all horror stories designed to grab your attention through fear and get clicks. So today's video is going to be a little different, and you might be sat there thinking, how bad is it really going to be? But don't worry, because in this video today we're going to cut through all the bullshit noise and explain how painful a tattoo really is and what to expect before your appointment. Everybody's tattoo experience is unique to them. Take myself and you the viewer, for example. Let's say we get the exact same tattoo, same body part, same artist. We will both feel that tattoo completely differently. I could be sat there quietly in pain, feeling like it's the longest 2 hours of my life. And you could be sat there chatting and laughing, acting like nothing's happening. And to make things even more confusing, we could both go in on a different day, again same tattoo, same placement, etc, etc, and I could breeze through it and you're not having such a good time of it. You see, there are so many different variables. Your pain tolerance, which could change day to day, dependent on your sleep, hydration, stress, placement on the body, anatomy, and even the tattoo artist's technique. Some artists are slow and gentle, with the needle tips lightly hovering over the skin surface while building up black and grey tones, and others are fast, heavy-handed, getting the job done efficiently but as quickly as possible. It's important to remember this, that the style of tattoo you're getting can make a big difference. But I will caveat that and say that you really shouldn't get a style of tattoo based on whether that style hurts or not. But to give you some idea, realism's usually built up very slowly and feels more mellow than say a Japanese sleeve or other dense heavy tattoo work. The type of tattoo machine can even make a difference. And whether the artist dry wipes or not, the list goes on. If you go online and Google the most painful tattoo spots, or ask a friend, 9 times out of 10, the ribs is going to be the first answer. And if you ask me, I'll probably tell you the same thing. I think the ribs absolutely suck as well. But for as many people who I've tattooed who hate it, an equal amount don't mind it. And I kid you not, some have even fallen asleep. It's absolutely bizarre and weird, but it's the God's honest truth. But one thing's for absolute certain, tattoos are more popular than ever. Around a third of the adult population worldwide is tattooed, and this number is rising daily. So really, if getting a tattoo was as bad as people make out, would this amount of people have a tattoo? From my experience, you get through it regardless of the pain, and most people walk out saying, that really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. A question I get daily, and I'm certain you're probably wondering the same thing, what does a tattoo really feel like? So for those of you who haven't been tattooed before, I'll try my very best to explain. But for those of you who have, let me know in the comments below what you think a tattoo feels like. It might seem obvious to most, but you have a tattoo machine that drives a needle into the skin around 150 times per second. The ink sits in the second layer of the skin, which is known as the dermis. People often get a little freaked out when we tattoo their wrists or legs, asking if it's okay to be tattooed because of their veins. I can assure you it's not a problem, and I've even tattooed people's legs who have been very self-conscious wanting me to cover up their varicose veins. The best way I could describe the feeling, and I have a pain tolerance of, well, a bloke. At best it's a dull scratch, and at worst it's a hot dragging sensation. Generally speaking, placement plays the biggest role on how painful a tattoo is, which we'll talk about in a moment. But think of it like this. The needle to do an outline is more pointed like a pen, so it's sharper, and shading or colour is a larger, flatter needle, more like a paintbrush for painting walls, and is a duller sensation. Now, how you go into your appointment makes a huge difference, and your mindset really matters. If you walk in all worked up, freaking out, the chances are it'll feel worse. I've seen some poor souls work themselves up so much that the adrenaline makes them so anxious they pass out before they even make it into the chair. But on the flip side, if you're expecting it to not hurt at all, you could be in for a big surprise. I think the sweet spot is acceptance. Know that it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's not the end of the world. And understand that it's all part of being tattooed. Staying relaxed will reduce the sensation of pain, and tense muscles, shallow breathing will amplify it. From my experience, the majority of first-timers' reaction to their first line being pulled is that it? That's usually when we notice the whole body relax, and it becomes a much more enjoyable experience for them. Try and remember that we're not doing it for the pain. We're doing it for what we get out of it, which is hopefully an amazing tattoo that we're over the moon with. One of the most common questions we get, where's the most painful place to be tattooed? Again, the truth is, it's different for everyone. Pain is subjective and it's really hard to give a definitive answer. Certain areas are notorious for being sore, but everyone experiences it differently. Even what I call the harder spots, some people barely flinch, while others find it really intense. But with all that being said, I will try and explain the best I can based on my extensive experience of being tattooed and tattooing others. As a generalisation, people struggle with the torso areas the most. Ribs, armpits, actually don't get your armpits tattooed, sternum and some parts of the back. This is because the torso has a very high concentration of pain-sensitive nerves, and areas like the sternum and ribs have less skin, meaning the needle is closer to them nerves. Knees, elbows, ankles and feet can also be tricky for the same reason, and because the skin is thinner, the needle can feel closer to the bone, causing more vibration. The only way I could describe the knees and elbows is raw. Other areas I would consider to be painful is the inner bicep, inner thighs and the back of the knees. Now, it's not all bad news, and if you're particularly nervous about pain and have never been tattooed before, there are safer spots to start with. The outer arms, shoulders and legs, particularly the thighs and calves, tend to be fleshier and have fewer nerve endings close to the surface. That makes these areas generally more comfortable and easier to sit through. Starting with these areas is a great way to get your first tattoo without overwhelming yourself. The key takeaway from all of this is don't stress about the most painful spot, focus on the design you want and trust your artist to guide you through the process. Your experience will be unique, and it's usually not as brutal as the stories make it sound. Tattoos can be uncomfortable sometimes, sure, but it's rarely unbearable. Your mindset, your body, the placement and your artist all play a part. Go in informed, relaxed and ready for the experience, and I'll guarantee you'll get through it absolutely fine. At the end of the day, the vibration, the pain, the weird sensations, it's all part of the process, and most people walk out thinking, what the hell was I so worried about? Remember, getting a tattoo itself is an experience, a memory that you'll have forever, and sometimes a little painful, which is to be expected, but should be absolutely worth it. If you're still a little nervous, check out my other videos in this series on how to prepare for your first tattoo. And if you got some value from this video, I would really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.